Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Castle in the Dark. No, Castle in the Desert. Why did I say dark? It's a ripoff on Rebecca. It's the very last Charlie Chan movie from 20th Century Fox. This is the beginning of World War II. 20th Century Fox wasn't too keen on having Asian characters like Mr. Moto or Charlie Chan with all the anti-Japanese propaganda going around. The Japanese were pretty mean doing human experiments on the Chinese, but on the other hand, FDR knew about Pearl Harbor. He could have prevented it, but he let it happen. And there was no reason under the sun to nuke Nagasaki and Hiroshima, because Japan was prepared to surrender anyway at that point. But enough about historical revisionism. I'm not saying the Japanese are good people. Like I said, they did human experimentation on the Chinese, which is sort of like the so-called COVID vaccine nowadays. Anyways, here's the Castle in the Desert, 1942. It's a ripoff on Rebecca from 2 years earlier, which is not a real great film. I mean, it's good, it's decent, but didn't knock my socks off. Rebecca. I'm giving this one 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It's the Sidney Toler stuff in the 40s, especially the what do I want to say? Sorry, I'm a little tired from working like 13 and a half hours. So after Fox cut off Sidney Toler, he took over the rights to the books, and he got Monogram, Poverty Row company to do the Charlie Chan films in the 40s after 42. So I'm actually watching one of the Monogram Sidney Toler. He's Meeting at Midnight, aka Black Magic. There he is, Sidney Toler. They actually put him on this disc, and you can see the MGM logo. It's not Fox, it's 20th Century Fox. So I guess MGM took over Monogram. Charlie Chan. This is the only Monogram film that I have Charlie Chan. I think I've seen one other one which was absolutely horrible. This one's pretty bad too. It's got the seance going, and you've got Charlie Chan's daughter in it, who's super hot. I wish I could see her naked, but This is a 1944 film, and I wish I could have seen her in every Charlie Chan instead of number one son and number two son, Charlie Chan Jr. and number five son, number three son. Hell, I just want to see his daughters. And then the last one I got is a Jack Chan. So I'm getting out of the Charlie Chan section of my queue, and I'm getting into the Jackie Chan section. This is 2017 Jackie Chan movie. It's probably horrible. It's like 2 hours long. Something about a restaurant owner whose daughter dies at the hand of Irish terrorists. Oh God. It's like, sounds pretty bad. It's a revenge film. Jackie Chan. I don't have high hopes for Jackie Chan movies in 2017. Based on what I've seen so far of his later stuff, when he got washed up and stopped making decent movies. Adrian knows what I'm talking about. But anyways, Frances Chan, number one daughter. Man, she is hot. Even in her dress. I can't really see much, but holy cow. That is the most comely Charlie Chan actress I've ever seen. Even better than number two son's girlfriend, believe it or not. And she was pretty decent looking too. But Sidney Toler stuff is, I can see why they say his movies are not as good. I mean, they use a lot of props and they got the spooky gothic castle going there with the dungeon, bed of nails, and poisons in the basement. Pretty crazy stuff. And that's really the only reason to watch. As usual, you can't guess who the murderer is. There's even one fake murderer and another real murderer. So they're like two murderers or two bad guys in this one. You think the lady who runs the castle is completely insane, and she's related to some dude who liked to poison people. So they figure that she's crazy, and they're trying to pin the poisonings on her. There are a couple poisonings even when she's at the dinner table. And there's a guy whose face is all covered on the side with some kind of cloth material, like almost like a bandana type of material, covers half of his face, and he's into all the medieval Dark Ages kind of history. So he's got all these knight armor in the hallway, and pretty cool looking stuff. I thought it could have been better. Like I said, I'm not a real big fan of Rebecca, and this is a Rebecca ripoff. And Number two son is just plain goofy. Like he wasn't really hitting it on all cylinders with the what do I want to say? Comic relief. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Comic relief. He's like acting like a total goofball and not funny at all. Number two son. I'm sorry, but Key Luke was way better as number one son, and I would have even preferred to see number one daughter. Like I said, wow, she's quite a sex bomb. oh, oh man, makes me want to turn back the clock and go back in the '40s so that I could like ask her out on a date with her '40s hairdo and tight dress. Whoa, she's got quite a figure too, and kind of like an hourglass kind of Chinese babe. So this one's 1 hour and 2 minutes. So what happens is some dude gets poisoned at the castle, then Charlie Chan gets invited to investigate. When he arrives, somebody steals a part from the car, and they're like stranded there in the middle of the desert. And Charlie Chan learns that the lady of the castle, the crazy person that I was telling you about, didn't actually invite him to come there. Somebody else forged the invitation, but he's stranded there, so he's trying to solve the crimes. Anyway, so some other dude who says he's a private investigator looking into another poisoning that happened that didn't even happen during this film. It happened way back in time, and he's investigating. So, lady of the castle invites him to dinner. He gets poisoned. So Charlie Chan figures out who's doing the poisoning, and he has to figure out who's trying to kill the people to gain control of the estate. And so he's working with number two son. Number two son shows up with a letter threatening to kill Charlie Chan. So that's his ticket inside the castle. The taxi dropped him off a couple miles away. He had to walk through the desert to get there. Unlike Charlie Chan, who managed to get somebody who was too scared to drive him to the castle. And like I said, lots of props and plot twists, and different antagonists. It's pretty intense for an hour and 2 minutes. So I just couldn't really figure out how this could be enjoyable, like the other movie that I saw, Charlie Chan and Reno, was much more enjoyable, I thought. Late 30s Sidney Toler stuff. Like I say, the Monogram stuff that I've seen so far is just total crap, with the exception of number one daughter. I'll have to give it an extra star for number one daughter. But but there's one monogram, Charlie Chen, that I absolutely hated, and I think the the Sidney Toler movies get worse as the years go on. I think he was getting up in age, like he was 72 and he was sick, and he still worked in the last monogram before Roland Winters. So, um, and then it happens in the beginning of World War II. So number two son is getting drafted by the army, but he just happens to be on leave or something. So he's helping out his dad, that sort of thing. And so you got crossbows flying around, poison going around the table, and lots of crazy stuff. I just couldn't get into it, but I think this meeting at midnight, aka Black Magic, is going to be even worse. Despite having number one daughter, like I said, and now I'm telling you about that little chubby 21-year-old Filipina gal with the interesting interesting kind of behavior. I mean, she told me earlier this week that she was going to send me a juicy email. Like, oh wow! And she did. She did send it to me, and then she called me a new name. She called me Bestie, which is kind of like, okay, 29 years age difference, and you want to call me Bestie? I'll take it. I'm not complaining, but kind of had me scratching my head like, why is she always showing me her fingernails and her ears? And she's like, today she had a really revealing top, like you could see her back and her chest and stuff. And I think she was trying to hide it from me, like doing her tease thing. But she showed me her nails. I guess she just got them done. She was talking to me. She just goes like this, showing me her nails. So pretty crazy, man. And then she left like a couple hours into it. She just got up and left. I don't know what that was all about. But I did a Google chat and she answered. Then I asked her, where are you? This place is driving me nuts. It's no fun. And I got no response. But anyways. I guess I'll see what happens next week. Every day it's a new thing with this crazy situation. Not that I'm expecting much out of it, but already she's kind of got my attention. I guess you could say. But tomorrow I'll probably finish up meeting at midnight, aka Black Magic. The Sidney Toler monogram film from 1944, 1 hour 7 minutes. Should take me too long to finish that one. It has no bonus features on the MGM disc, unlike the 20th Century Fox series that had extensive bonus features on each movie. This one has absolutely nothing. So we'll plot this in tomorrow's mail. Castle in the Desert. And, we'll get booking on the Charlie Chan, Jackie Chan stuff later.